Okay, beautiful souls, as promised, I have my special guest. And his name is Alistair Soyode. And he has brought millions around the world together, and we're going to talk to him. Let's just see if he's there.
Yes, hello, good evening.
Greetings, Mr. Soyode. I am so honoured, so humbled and blessed to have you on the show. And I've got questions. Oh, bless you. I've got questions for you, but before we go ahead, can you just share with the listening audience a little bit about your background?
Right. Well, thank you very much once again for having me on our platform. Well, my background basically is somebody who studied agriculture and classified to be like a farmer. And then while in the UK, I moved into sport management to work with our young emerging BME players, then before the Premiership. At the same time, trying to do telecom in the early days of mobile phone before we got to where we are. And then with that background, thinking, well, every time and we have an issue that is being classified as African or Caribbean, people will pick a nation and say, well, these people from Africa or from the Caribbean community are the people really committing this negative crimes. And I thought, well, really, there must be positive role model people who never really been assumed to go into negative vices and crimes in the country. So we need to begin to profile this emerging young African Caribbean people in the United Kingdom. And in my research, I didn't come across much. And then I decided to move into maybe trying to set up a production company for Black people in the United Kingdom. And while doing that research as well, I then realized, well, we don't really have a television presence. And from there, I thought, well, maybe I could possibly be the person that will move into television even before starting a proper production platform for BME people in the United Kingdom, with the intention of supplying African TV station, Caribbean TV station of this good positive profile of Black African Caribbean in the United Kingdom. And that's what basically gave birth to Ben Television.
Oh, wow. So lots of motivation there to kind of create a different narrative and to kind of really show the truth and on a much wider, much wider way than we tend to get in a, we tend to be kind of seeing things in a more narrow way when we're not probably sharing our own story. So, because you basically have answered, I was going to ask you, what motivated and inspired you, and you kind of answer that.
Right.
I don't know if you want to add any more to that.
Well, really, as we have seen now, at least before then, it was really hard for people of color to be recognized or seen playing major role, even on our mainstream TV dramas, soaps in the United Kingdom. And without giving them an exposure, it will be very hard then for them to be picked as many as the percentage of that reflect in the United Kingdom. So I guess with the arrival of Ben Television, same bridging the gap, it provided a platform for even people who want to go straight to the mainstream and they haven't got somewhere they can possibly brush their knowledge and their skills. Ben Television provided that opportunity in the early stages for people to see them regularly on TV. So as the ethos of the platform says, the channel is bridging the gap basically, and we just continue to do that as long as we have the support and we have the support of the management to keep going, but it's not really easy peasy.
And I know that Ben TV is very much about family, and obviously with family you've got the different generations. How easy is it to provide entertainment for the different age groups, and then the different variation of African people, whether they're in the diaspora, on the continent, in the Caribbean. How easy or difficult is that to be able to kind of cover everybody's enjoyment?
Well, I guess probably in the early days it was easy because you just don't have an option. In some of the percentage, it's like, okay, if you really want to watch a Black content, Black television, you just have to go to Ben TV. And within the emerging generation of maybe people who are 20 to 30 years now, they probably have a not as good perception of Ben, because when they were growing up at the age of 10, their parents were always glued to Ben television, not allowing them to watch the other network, or rather cartoon and all that kind of other TV station. So Ben TV was the one that parents were glued to. Oh, here's something for us finally. But nevertheless, we end up mixing as many content that we can get for a younger generation, from the primary school to secondary school, and then we all in these early days, in the first few years of our establishment, we have content coming from Jamaica Broadcasting and all the TV stations either in Nigeria, Ghana, and other places. So we end up becoming like an aggregate center for diverse programming. So which then end up again saying, oh, we're representing almost everybody, even if it is 2 hours a week for that content. We even had programs for French-speaking community, also Yoruba, Igbo, Swahili, all on the platform before beginning to narrow it down, because then again, you find out the more you are doing, in the sense that we're not funded by government, we never really explored those avenues when we started, because what we're really doing was providing content for the BME community, which really, based on what we have realized now, they should have been funded for that kind of thing, then we could have done more. And with where we are as of today, especially last year, we definitely know that our community need a strong platform to represent things affecting the BME communities in the United Kingdom.
Oh, yeah, wonderful answer there. And, certainly with, younger people and then obviously older people, I notice you call it, you've got a really nice name for it, youthfully mature. And what is it, mature youth or something? I read somewhere, which you kind of find a way to make everybody happy regardless of age or what have you. And I know that Ben TV is really works to be in a cosmopolitan family channel, but providing entertainment, education and information. And that, again, is really important. I mean, that's what kind of all kind of media broadcasting is all about. And how do you kind of, the different quantities, so entertainment, because all three are really important. But it's like, how do you get started with, when you're with your team, how do you sort of decide, the level of entertainment and what will be in there, the level of education that might be tucked inside the entertainment and the information as well?
Well, actually, we have definitely transformed from different ethnic television, from the content of what we used to do in the early days, the classic, to movies. But I think our decision, more or less, it was how easy will it be for us to get a program or content onto the channel. It wasn't that easy. But then again, if we end up having a lot of people coming to us with movies, we probably in that quarter go to movies. And then slowly then we then find out that, okay, there are music videos, which again, in the context of African, and more so African more than the Caribbean, musicians or artists really make money from performing at events, celebratory places, endorsement, rather than selling their music. Okay. So their music is just for distribution, but they make the money by performances. So we're caught in that, either to promote or not to promote, but then we normally have an agreement with them. So again, then that allows us to go into promoting the musical artists who are performing. But then where we push our strength is more or less doing a live show, doing various live shows on the platform on a daily basis. We end up becoming the top television rather than the post-production television, because our people need to be engaged, our people need to be educated, and there has to be that interaction between the audience and the people in the studio, the presenter, the anchors, and the host. So we were doing that quite a lot, and that definitely strengthened the BME, the African community, because then they are able to share their story, their challenges, and then from your perspective, the anchor's perspective, presenter's perspective, we share it with those that are relevant in government or in policy making. So basically, we move according to what we feel is easier for us to have access to in terms of content, and then try to balance it as well with having news material, current affairs issues from all the broadcasters. So we don't have any really in the United Kingdom when we started. So we end up becoming everybody's TV channel and community channel. So basically we have the various content for various groups and various ages, trying to mix it as much as possible.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then
oh wow. I want to ask you, because I know you do you provide training, internships and volunteer schemes, and if for young people, can you tell us about those, and how are people able to get on those schemes?
Yes. Well, as the number one media television for the BME communities in the United Kingdom, one thing that we found is, even from the early days, that we have to provide facility or platform for those who really want to go into media, television and broadcasting. So it was a privilege for us to be able to provide the channel to become a training ground for other students or graduates or even grown-ups who want to go into television as broadcasters, as presenters, as news readers. So over the years, especially in the early days, we trained hundreds, and through affiliate, probably thousands were imparted. In the early days as well, to us is a mystery. Like, we have people coming from the United States coming to work with our platform, which is non-mainstream, which is I think we used to smile or laugh when we got non-African, non-Caribbean saying they come into UK and they want to work with Ben TV.
Oh, wow.
We have to say, wait a minute, we're African Caribbean, and they say yes, we know, and that's why we actually coming. So we were privileged to break barrier down for non-Africans that have come in and spend months with Ben Television, because really working with us takes you to the grassroots of broadcasting. Because when you go to the mainstream, most likely you have a lot of people, runners, doing your makeup, doing your dressing up, wiring you for the mic. When you come to Ben, you have to learn how to do it. And now when you go back to the mainstream, you then become an expert. And even the mainstream, without mentioning names, are surprised with your intellectual knowledge, your skills, your determination, and your hard work. Why? Because you're coming from somebody, a platform and a channel that grill you with the best practice, where you can actually touch the cameras, do this, operate things, and you're much more resourced. Working with Ben, learning with Ben, volunteering at Ben, than you can get when you go to the mainstream, which is already having different aspects of the broadcasting all covered by different individual people.
Wow. So, you are creating broadcasters, presenters, all the different people to become very resourceful. So wherever they go,
absolutely,
they can, utilize not just one skill, but many different skills. And if something was to happen, they can sort of, navigate around the problems and do some problem solving.
Correct.
Oh, wow. Just what you're doing is amazing. And how is it, connecting so many different people and then having people outside of the African group, as in, when I say group, I mean all over the world, diaspora, but people outside of that coming to you and saying, look, we want your training, we want to work with you, we want to learn from you. That is very powerful. And what would you say, in your estimation, why do you feel that they want that, and what do they go away with when they and do they keep in touch? That's kind of what I want to know.
Yes, I would say majority of those that have been through Ben platform, the volunteers, interns, kept in touch with us, and we likewise try to be in touch with them. Yeah. Because for us, it's like, once you are a member of Ben, we presume that you're always a member of Ben. You'll always be a bridge to fill up the gaps in your community, in your nation, and across the world. So it's not that easy to come across so diverse in ethnic orientation, especially when you talk about African continent, because on the African continent you have hundreds and thousands of ethnic groups.
Wow.
Not compared to the Caribbean, that you probably have lesser, or almost everybody will speak English or Mine or French.
Yes.
But on the African continent, it's just too diverse, too many. So I think with our eaters, which makes it much more easier, saying bridging the gap, they understand where we're coming from. And by orientation, likewise, in our small team, we understand where people are coming from. But it's definitely, I can honestly tell you, it's not easy. If you pick any mainstream director to come to Ben in our early days, they will run away. And many people have come in and actually run away because it's like, oh, I can't do this. Wow. So we push you to the limit, and we push ourselves to the limit. And I guess sometimes it's like you don't have a choice because you're representing BME communities and audience and people in the United Kingdom, which most of the time as well, we seem to be marginalized, forgotten. So the fight to bridge that gap is not as easy as we are. If you look at the mainstream, for example, the BBC, they get a TV licensing every year, running into billions and billions of pounds sterling. We don't get a penny out of that. And likewise, we're providing content and programs and information to the Black community in the United Kingdom that represent almost 10% of the population of the United Kingdom. Now, if that 9 billion that is raised, or 5 billion that is raised for TV license, and they're able to say, well, you are providing community service, you are providing content for this BME community that we, the mainstream, are not providing. Yet, my community, our community, the African, the Caribbean, the Asian, they pay TV license, not because they want to watch the mainstream, but because they want to watch Ben and all the freebie stations that reflect their culture and aspiration. Why are we not getting funding from the TV license? That's another question for another day.
That is a big question, and definitely seems quite unfair based on the broad spectrum that you cover for the BME peoples. And what I would ask you is how can people help to support Ben TV? Because I think you've been very independent from the beginning even till now. So what can people do to help to support this station that is very important to people all over the UK and elsewhere as well?
Well, what we have seen, to be honest, is that the COVID-19 pandemic has overwhelmed the nation and overwhelmed us at Ben, and probably similar outfit, but most especially at Ben. Because the information, as you would know, the statistics confirms people from the BME community were mostly highly affected, even from the early days of coronavirus. So it meant that information was coming in stream to us to relay it back to the community, and then it's like, wow, now we can handle all this on a daily basis. Of course, we were pushing, we were doing it, but then more information is required, more live show is required to give that information back to the people. Even right now that we're talking about vaccination, the highest percentage of our community are the ones that are saying they're not taking it. We need that information to go back to them scientifically with data and statistics. So from our perspective, really within us and the mainstream corporate entity is to utilize the platform to reach out either through advertising. In fact, it's more through advertising. People would like to compare us with the mainstream. But as I said, the likes of the BBC are given, not generating, given billions of pounds sterling a year. We are just from ordinary first black TV station. So we run it based on what we have, based on our philanthropic gesture from our own team management and the little advertorial that we get. So when people want to measure you with the international broadcasters, who yet most of their revenue comes from the ethnic, especially the African businesses that are advertising with them. So the judgment tool is not relevant as such, because the more you can support by advertising and getting your information out there, the more it is. And of course, as we have seen, even the big mainstream, some of them still do charitable fundraising. I'm not sure, we've never really done that. And so I will appreciate it. People now, because with the coronavirus as well, you must have come across this, that a lot of groups are coming up to say, buy black, support black, buy BME, support BME, do this, do that, we should do this, we should do that. So at the end of the day, I would like to see them likewise advertising and patronizing the only first black TV station in the United Kingdom, and more or less the only black-led media television in the UK that is fully black in out, and we still work for more mainstream guest content than any other.
So do you feel then that people, do you feel that people are kind of, with no funding from the government and the wider audience, do you feel as though it's so hard for people to kind of understand where you're coming from and all the different things that you're doing and bringing to the table to help, as we were saying earlier on, inform, educate and entertain? And is that the biggest problem, the marketing side, and people kind of, more and more people knowing about Ben TV and what, Ben TV offers against the wider TV that most people are easily open to? And also with the monies that people are paying, is there any talk about maybe speaking to the the BBC or whoever about maybe putting forward something to say, people are paying into this and maybe they should get something back for themselves? Is there a narrative? Is there a story? Is there something that can be started to help that?
I definitely believe that every day we learn something new, and there is definitely a story there that should be shared. And likewise, for us, we would definitely push it more into the government's side for them to have that consideration. Because the more, whatever, even if it is 1% of that is shared and distributed to a similar platform like ours, it will go a long way. But again, sometimes when we ourselves say we need to patronize ours, yet ours are crying when we don't have that many, then we just need to wake up and begin to do that support. And then we can expand that. As I said, with the world now is changing, and actually it has already changed. So we need our stories to be out there. We need to feature our successful people. I don't mind those that say, oh, it's so plastic. Well, at the end of the day, we have to work together if we want to succeed. If not, you're just making it harder when we don't have that many options. And so, yes, I think their indulgence and their positive support so that we can expand what we are doing and share it more with our own people, content, documentaries, and all the stuff that we do.
What I want to ask you is, you just mentioned there about content and what I want to ask you, is there anything that's come through your channel, your work, that for you want to kind of pinpoint and just let people know, maybe a story, maybe a documentary that was done, or something that you feel, or even not just one thing, maybe several that you can highlight that kind of stood out for you and kind of made you feel, what, this is very much in alignment with what the ethos and the vision of Ben TV is, as you were thinking in the beginning when you put it together. Is there anything you want to kind of highlight and just share with people so they've got a really good understanding of what Ben TV is all about, with the the ethos and the vision that you started with?
Well, let me quickly look at we have a radio station that do talk show every day. Yeah, and one of the major radio stations there in London happened to be one of the promoters adversely or positively or negatively the issue of Brexit. Now, without that radio station giving that platform to the speakers, the outcome of Brexit would not have been like it was. Without that radio station giving a platform for some of the speakers who now get elected in the United Kingdom political dimension, they won't have got elected. So there is a power of patronization, broadcasting, delivering content, be it neutral, but it has a perspective. So I see then in the same format, even though as a television, that there's no issue or topic in the United Kingdom that we don't cover on a daily basis. So as anything is happening that you know over the last 18 to 20 years that affect the Black community has been discussed on Ben TV. So there's no, I won't say that, because as I said, any topic, any subject, any issue affecting the Black community, from either being forgotten to bringing it to the forefront and having MPs coming to talk about it, to going to conferences, seminars, workshops in the House of Parliament, and all the places to discuss issues affecting the Black community. We have always been there as much as we can. In fact, the thing is, we could have expanded our reach by being present in many other cities and council, but you have a limitation. As I said, we're not funded. We're only funded by ourselves, and sometimes you find it very challenging, very hard, and then you wonder, where are my people?
Oh, that's a question that's not a nice question for you to have to ask, after so many years of giving and, providing, this powerful link for people to connect and hear stories that are told in their truth. And, I would ask you, and you've kind of covered, but really, how important on a mental, emotional, spiritual, basis, how important is it for people, Black people, African people, to see images of themselves positively and told from them, from their own, from them. They're not hearing it from from their own perspective and not from someone else. How important is that on those three levels?
I said it's very, very, very important. You cannot underestimate it. There's nothing that you can compare it with. Because what we tend to say is somebody's telling us our story from their own perspective. And once in a while, we keep saying we don't want them to tell us our story by themselves, because it's still them ruling, or it's still them dominating you. But then you will not say, we go to, for example, into the sporting field, into all aspects of life, we dominate because it's more of an individual progress and skills and determination and hard work than a combination of collective policy idea. So from the perspective of how strong, we definitely need to share our story by ourselves, especially when we have the story by ourselves. The successful stories are not shared as it should be, but nobody ever denied a successful person a platform to talk. And that's why when they become successful, you can see being claimed that you are from so and so. When the story is negative, then they throw you back to that other side, even though you actually have the identification of the other side that is now throwing you somewhere. So we have to be realistic to say, yes, spiritually, mentally, when we have our story, we should be able to share that story, because then it encourages you, it encourages the upcoming generation, it encourages the youth to say, yes, I can see Miss speaking, having so and so, because she was given the platform based on her merit, not because of her color. But even if it is based on the color, she is good at what she is doing. It makes and encourages people. And with that as well, you'll be able to empower the community, and you'll be able to reduce the youth juvenile, you'll be able to reduce delinquencies that are not favorable to the community, because they can see it and they can value it and they can appreciate it. It's not until when somebody gone to the prison and then come back and then now become a mentor. It's good, but then we do have those that have never smelled anything criminal, never have they broken any law, and they are successful people. So it is good to appreciate each other, support ourselves, share our own story where possible, especially when we have it. We should do that.
Yeah, that's awesome, because I hear what you say there. It's one thing for an individual to do well, because we know, there's many individuals doing really well, but it's also important to look at the group and see how are we doing in the world, and what can we offer as a group, and what our needs are as a group. And this is what I feel Ben TV has been about. It's about looking at what we all share, that, as you keep saying, that unity. But what are our shared, goals? What are our shared, pain? What is our shared, happiness? What is our shared vision for the future? And I think that definitely is really important. Well, talking about the future, young people, and I know young people are very much involved in Ben TV, and I just want to kind of hear your insight into, what does the future of Ben TV around young people? Because I know certainly in the continent, the majority of people on the continent, or certain parts of the continent, are young people. So can you just share with us a little bit about what's going on for young people, certainly for the future?
Well, I believe that the future of our young people in the United Kingdom and across our two combined continents will go a long way, especially where we are as of today. People are locked indoor, and it's probably going to be here for some years to come until the whole thing is well established. So we can definitely look into building more through the connectivity of telephone and communication that we're utilizing. So it means that hopefully there's a more creative, more innovative, and in technology and creativity, it's hard for you to pick the person based on who they are, rather you're picking them based on the product that they have. And then it's good for us as well to be able to trust our own product. It doesn't matter how we start, but we should trust it so that then they can get better. If you criticize something that is not good, hopefully the maker, the manufacturer will begin to see the defect in the product and then begin to make it better than yesterday, because there's an Asian country that has become a powerful nation right now in the world in terms of economy and in terms of population, up there on top of the ladder. But back in the years, people would say, oh, I'm not buying this product from this country. But right now, that country dominates almost everywhere, every corner. So if we do the same by saying, I don't like it, but then if we begin to patronize the skill, that person, that company will begin to improve and give you the quality that you want. So we will continue to mentor and support the youth either through the direct communication, virtual apps, and all the means. And for me, really, I have been doing mentoring work in the UK, in Nigeria, across Africa, to mentor as many people that I have the access to, and as time permits me. But the fact of the matter is, it's not that easy, and I do not want people to think it's that easy. Neither do I think sometimes running Ben TV is easy. Sometimes we feel like, oh, that's it, no more.
Oh, no. Wow.
I want to retire so that we can concentrate on working with the youth, because our youth definitely need more people to guide them, more people to mentor them, more people to show them path of succeeding in life and being contented with life.
Yeah, I love that, the mentoring and the fact that you yourself, are involved in that. And certainly the youth is our future. And without them, where do we, what does the future look like? So I love what you have to say there. What I would ask you, if someone's listening, say there's a young person listening or somebody listening thinking, wow, I'd like to go through some of these trainings, or I'd like to get involved in mentoring or what have you. What would be the first step? What would you advise them to do if they wanted to get involved in what Ben TV is doing, with their skills, or they want to help, other people, young people with their skills, that type of thing?
Definitely Ben TV is here, bridging the gap. It is of interest to know that we can do more. And personally for me, I don't think Ben TV has done 50% of what Ben TV wanted to do.
Right.
So that means there's 70% of things that we should have done, we haven't yet. So it means that we have a lot of capacity a lot of things that we should do. So there's a lot of opportunity for people who have ideas, who can edit, who can produce their own program and looking for somewhere to put it. I think Ben TV is really the place to bring that idea and that content. For us, is everything's about growing together, because you have to be realistic. I do not want people to think that things are easy. Well, some places it's easy, and in our own place is we mix it with being easy and determination and hard working. So that is what is sustaining, and that's what is keeping us. And hopefully we will get to the state that we are able to generate the big money turnaround, the big revenue, the big funding, to be able to do more of the thing that we want to do. Some TV stations, because they have the capacity of the money in coming, can spend hundreds of thousands to produce 1 hour program. We haven't got that capacity. But I guess if the people and the corporate that are from our community and our own people begin to support and do it, then we will definitely go a long way. It's just like saying, do we have a national radio station that is on FM that belongs to the Black community? Do we have a national newspaper that belongs to the Black community, like the mainstream? Do we have? We actually need to ask questions. So if we don't, sometimes I tell we should stop complaining, since we are not patronizing our own. We should stop complaining that we don't have this when we have the capacity to have it. Right? This is a bitter truth. So where's our newspaper that is weekly, nationally? Everything now is about media, and we've seen the power of media. If we follow the United States, all the thing that has happened today is the power of the media. Some took the other side, another one took the side, but the medias were fighting and delivering content and ideas and ideologies that got them to where they are today, especially over the last 4 years. In the United Kingdom, likewise, you can see the power of the media, the newspapers, they are there. But where is our own? So now that we only technically have Ben that is fully run over the last 2 decades by our own BAME, fully BAME. Are we going to let that too go the other side? Only time will say.
That's a very powerful question you ended with there, because wow, that is so true. Media is we do need newspaper that we can relate to, as well as all the other things. And wow, that is a big question. And what I'd like you to do before we wrap up this wonderful conversation is, you have said so many wonderful things and really opened our eyes today. But is there anything you would like to say? Just share it with people. First of all, I want to ask you, actually, you have brought together, you had an idea or a dream, and you made it a reality. And now, millions of people are able to share in that. And obviously, as we're speaking today, so much more need to take part. What would you say was the main ingredients for you to take something that was just an idea, a dream in the invisible realm, and bring it here to the physical realm? What would you say were the ingredients?
Well, first I would definitely say God made it possible. That's number one. Number two, I never thought I could pull it through, because back then you're talking of tens of millions. You're talking of big satellite capacity. You're talking of being on the Sky platform. You're talking of studio. You're talking of everything. And here by just having a little laptop saying I want to launch a TV station, and yet I have no background in television. It sometimes sounds like a joke, but then it's just a dream. I'm just holding it. I'm pulling things together and saying, wow, who's going to give me this money to start? So in true sense, we never had the money for 6 months before starting the TV station. Neither do I say, it's not wrong, neither will I say that I have the money that will keep me going for a year. Neither will I say I have a big board of directors in the company when we started. It was just a laptop and moving from one office or coffee bar and stuff, making sure that the TV station is on single-handedly alone, before then beginning to come across people who believe in the dream and who then begin to join. So no background, no money, but it was possible. Not because that it was possible. Some people believe in it, few believe in it, and we were moving. So now, in my almost 2 decades, I'm just moving from one month to another. So if there is anybody out there, Ms. Manny, that is watching, listening to your program, that say, whoa, I really want to support. In fact, just become an investor. I want to invest in this business if you're looking for somebody, so that we can take it where it needs to be, so that we can strengthen the BME community, so that we can provide more of the information that they need within our community, so that we can keep something long to continue going, not like our other radio station that has gone over the last some years ago. We need to keep something. It has nothing to do about us, the directors. We have been serving the community, the African Caribbean community, for close to 2 decades, and we are absolutely proud about it, and we're grateful to have come from our color, our race, and we will have no regret whatsoever, even if we decided to change otherwise. But we would like to make sure that it stays within our people, it stays to continue to represent our community. As I said, we're just more than 30% of what we have done. There's the 70% up there that we have not yet implemented for our BME community, for BME nations that are out there. So the more we can do, the better it will be, and we'll be able to strengthen the communities, open more windows of opportunities for businesses, support our youth, give them training, because media is all about branding, marketing, communication, PR, and things that makes you look good. So let's try and bridge the gap together, because tomorrow will be better than yesterday, and today we're still talking, hoping for tomorrow to be good.
Wow, that was really powerful. Thank you so much. And everything you've said, it just makes so much sense. And I love that you believed in your dream, and what happened is others came, and it just carried on from there to where you are, today, and that you gave, people that insight that, start, because that's what I heard from you, is just get started, follow your heart, follow your dream, and it will start to take shape. And
yes,
of course, like you say, you believe in a higher power, and that really helps as well, because you're not alone in what you're doing. But wow, thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to share with people before we wrap up this segment? Because you've shared so much.
Well, the only thing I can say is being contented with life is a stronger character. So which means as you feel that you need to be successful, which is good because it's your hard work, focus on it. But at the end of the day, try as well to feel that you are contented with your success, and remember those who are behind you. Always give the best that you can. Always share the best as if today is your last day on this mother earth. So the more you can share, the more you can give, then the more you will feel strengthened. And so that's my prayer. And of course, over the years, I have, especially for family time and other things, that has taken toll on many things, but grateful that I don't have a young child at home now. But over that period, you are fully working, so you have to appreciate your family very well. Thank them for their support, for their patience, and then try and do as much as you can so that you can bring smile to your family, smile to your community, smile to your nation, and protect your name.